Hello and welcome back. It's puzzle time with Sudoku Sleuth, and today we're going to be playing Crosshairs. Now, um, as I'm recording this, the US elections are still going on. It's actually the morning of the 6th of November for me here, and it hasn't been called yet, but right now it's looking like 214 to Mr. Trump versus 179 to Mrs. Harris. Now, obviously, it's far from me to comment about US politics or elections. The only thing that I can hope for is that you guys have a clear winner so that you can get behind one individual and move forward. And hopefully, there'll be nothing like the crosshairs that you see in today's thumbnail. That's a really bad segue. That's an awful segue. But I'm going to blame it on the fireworks that, of course, happened last night. And therefore, a fairly tired household here in the Sleuth place. Now, I couldn't imagine Sleuth standing behind a pair of crosshairs, so he actually stood in front of it to say, no, don't use the crosshairs. That's kind of my explanation of today's thumbnail. Now, the puzzle itself is from FullDeck and Missing a Few Cards, whom I'm really glad to be back posting puzzles on Logic Masters Germany, not necessarily just on their website, and that they got through the hurricane recently and to the start of the academic year all well, and really looking forward to playing today's particular puzzle. Anyhow, enough of the lengthy introduction. Let's take a look at today's puzzle and rule sets with Crosshairs by FullDeck and Missing a Few Cards, and the following set of rules. I mean, I can see a crosshair kind of, yeah, very much there. So I think an apt thumbnail, and we're going to take a look at that in a bit. Standard Sudoku rules apply, means place the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, every column, and every 3x3 box. Then we have cages. So, digits in cages cannot repeat and must sum to the value shown in the upper left corner of the cage. Emphasis on the do not repeat. So, for example, just having a look around for a cage. So, if this cell is a 2, for example, this would have to be a 9. These two would have to be adding up to an 11. These 3 are 11, these 2 are 14, etc., etc., etc. Very clearly stated, digits in cages cannot repeat. So these two cells, even though they're in different rows, columns, and boxes, they are in the same cage, and therefore a double 2 would actually break the puzzle. That would not be allowed. That's all the rules we have for today. So, as always, if you want to play along, link will be in the description down below for you to do so. With that said, I'm going to restart the clock and see how I get on. I'm going to say, I was going to say a couple of cages, but actually just one cage is forced, which is the 16 here with 7 and 9. But combos of cages are also forced. So 15 on its own, there are two ways of doing it, 7, 8, and 6, 9. But, and same for 14, 6, 8, or 5, 9. But in combination of these two, these 4 cells that are unique because they're all in the same row must add up to 29. And then that is forced. That is 5, 7, 8, 9. Clearly, the 5 is not inside the 15 cage. So that is 5, 9. This is 7, 8. We know that the 8 cage must have a 1 in it. And it could be 1, 2, 5 or 1, 3, 4. Right, I don't normally do this. So, like, I'll be honest, if it wasn't for the name, it wouldn't jump out at me. I'd be kind of laboring on these killer cages for a while longer, trying to squeeze every ounce of logic out of it. But the fact that it's called Crosshairs means that I am actually going to pay attention to whatever is going on in here. Now, we know that because of Sudoku, that this row adds up to 45. It essentially has the digits 1 to 9 once each. You add them all up, 1 plus 2 plus 3, all the way to 9, you get to 45. We have line of sight of 37 of them, the 18 and the 19. And actually in the column, the 18 and the 19 as well. So what that's saying to me is that these 3 cells must add up to 8 to get to 45. 8, 26, 19, that's 45. And then again, in the column, these 3 must contain a digit 1. The only way this is all going to work is clearly this is the 1. And then what that's telling me is one of these is going to be 2, 5. One of these is going to be 3, 4. I don't know which is which, but these are 2, 3, 4, 5. It also means that 6, 7, 8, and 9 have to be placed in these corners, which you can see is actually quite difficult in some cases. For example, the 9 cage, if I place anything other than the 6, finally our first digit at minute 2.5, okay? Anything bigger will not work because that's already the minimum, 1, 2, and 6. Same is true for the 10. Now that 6 is not available, this is 7 with a 1, 2 pair. Then we have 8 and 9. We actually have a degree of freedom now. So technically, I can place an 8 in here and get away with 1, 3. I can obviously also place a 9 with 1 and 2. So we do actually have a degree of freedom, but it does give me another digit with 8, 9 pair looking at 7 and 9. Okay. Now, what is that meant to all do for me? I mean, obviously 1 and 2, that's not a 2. 7 and 9, looking at a 12 cage, that can only be now 4, 8. It's not really what I feel like the crosshair is about. I mean, obviously the fact that there's a whole bunch of 1, 2s is interesting. I'm actually thinking about the 20 cage now. You see, the 20 cage, which is 5 cells, has many degrees of freedom. But I'm starting to wonder if it can even have a 1. So there's a 1 inside the 8 cage, so it removes 1 from this entire box. Now, one of these, essentially there's a 1 X-wing in rows 3 and 4. Actually, not just the rows. What's interesting is box 2 and row 4. So essentially, ask yourself, could either of these cells be 1? And I think the answer to that is no. That has a 1, 2, and that has a 1, 2. So no 1 in these 2 cells, and no 1 inside these 3 because of the 8 cage, no 1 inside this 5 cage, this 5 cells cage that adds up to 20. So this is forced. This is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Essentially, triangular number of 6 is 21. Take away the 1, this is entirely forced. Now the 1, 2 pair means that's not a 2. The 1, 2 pair, that means that's not a 2. It tells me then that the 8 cage, that there's a 2 inside here, and actually the 6 is not there. The 6 is in here as well. So anyway, where I was going with this, that this cannot be a 1, 2, 5 cage because there's a 2 definitely in here, since it's in neither of these cells. So this is a 1, 3, 4 cage. No 3, 4 in here. That's 2, 5, 6. Don't need these. And the 3 and 4 are out here. Right. That's probably what the crosshair was meant to do. I'm left with a second 7, 8, and a 9, and specifically in that order, because if that's 9, that has to be 6, and it can't be. So that's the 9. I really didn't mean to do that. And this is 7, 8. That's the 8. That's the 7. That 8 bounces across, gives me 4, gives me 8, gives me 3, gives me 4, removes 3 and 4 from here. Lovely. This is not 3 or 4, that's a 5, and then completing the row, that's a 6. Excellent. 5 in here means that's the 2. Remember, this was a 2, 5 pair and a 3, 4 pair, and now we know the order. So that's 3, 4. And in fact, it's also resolved. I clearly made a mistake here. That was meant to stay as a 6. That was meant to be a 9. Hopefully I didn't make any other mistakes. I think that was just it when I, for some reason, selected these 3 and hit 9. 8 and 9, I think any of that is resolved. Actually, that kind of might be. 8, 7, no, it isn't. And then 8, 9, that are not resolved. Okay, good progress. So let's talk about the 12 cage for a second. Okay, let me take a step back. I'm actually not sure what I should be talking about or looking at, but I am going to just have a think about, I mean, there's a few things I could do. So 9 and 8, looking at that 14 cage. So this is the 8 or 9. and this is the 5 or 6, since it's either 5, 9 or 6, 8, and obviously that forces a certain direction. Doesn't resolve anything. It does give me an 8, 9 pair in the column, meaning that these are 1, 2, and 5. Now I don't think the 5 can be inside the 13 cage, because 5 and 8 on its own is already 13, even if I make this a 1. So I'm fairly sure that's the 5, that's another 1, 2. Yeah, we're kind of being pointed back towards the crosshair. So let's think about this. So one option is that this is 9 and this is a 1, 2 pair. Another option, of course, is this is an 8 and I need to add up to 4, so this is 1, 3 pair. There's a definite 1 in here. Now, the 13 cage is a bit trickier in that if this is 8, I'm trying to add up to 5. So the 1 would go with a 4, the 2 would go with a 3, all of which seemingly is still possible. And then if it's 9, then I'm trying to add up to 4. So that would be 1, that would be 3. So that's actually a full set of pencil marks in here. It's pointing me towards it, but like I'm not sure I'm doing much with it. Let's think about this next. Actually, we don't know if this is 5 or 9. For a second, I was thinking we can just sum these up and then figure out what this digit is. May still work. Let's just have a think about it. So where is 2 in row 1? Can't be this cell, otherwise these two cells have to add up to 16, and 7 is not available. It have to be 7, 9. So 2, and actually, you know, the 1, 2 pair. So the 2 is in here. The reason I didn't look at the 9 is this could be 2, 3, 4. It could also be 1, 2, 6. It's sort of dependent on whether it has a 1 or not. And, you know, 2, 3, 4 seems very feasible. 4, 2, and 3. That doesn't break anything. And then that would be 1, 3. That would be 1. Yeah, all of that works out. Then this would be 6. Now, I guess there is another possibility. I'm not going to pencil mark this. What is this cell? So it's not 1. It's not 2. It could be 3. It's not 4. It's not 5. Could be 6. Not 7. It's not 8. It's not 9. So this is 3, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we have a 3, 6 pair. They add up to 9. To get to the 18 cage, that has to be 9. That has to be 5. That's the missing 8. That means that this is 9. We know what these are now. We probably always knew, but I mean, let's just think about it. What is left now? Actually, that 8 is very useful. That's 9. That is 8. So that means that these two add up to 5, and these must add up to 3. So 1, 2 pair again. And then, why am I struggling so much? That's 9. That's 5. Still don't know what this 3, 4. Actually, I always knew. That's 4. That's 1. That's 2. That's 1. That's 2. That's 1. That's 2. That's 1. Lovely. Right. Let's crack on with the obvious things. This is 3, 6, I'm going to say. And these 3 cells are 4, 6, 7. And that does add up to, no, it's not 6. I've already placed it in here. 8. That doesn't look right. 7, 8. Yeah, no, it is. It is 19. 15 and 4. Right. This 3 would require a 7. This 6 would require a 4. Yeah, they both work. Kind of back to the 9 cage, it seems. Are we back to the 9 cage? 11 cage. So it's not 2, 9. It's not 3, 8. It's not 4, 7. It is 5, 6. And I guess Sudoku would have probably got us, because what's in here? We've got 5, 6, and 3. Only place for the 3 is in here. This is 5, 6. There's another 3 cells that we know the composition of. 2, 7, and 9. Yeah, that does add up to 18. 5, 6. 2, 5, 6. There's a 2 in one of these two cells. There's no 2 in here. Yeah, let's just keep going. 11 cage for a second. What is the 11 cage telling me? So if it doesn't have a 1, which is possible, it has 2 plus 2 digits that add up to 9. And if we're excluding 1, 8, 3, 6 would be one option, which by the looks of things isn't, because I can't have 2, 3, 6 in here, since I have 2, 3, 5, 6 between these. So that's off the table, and then 2 with 4 and 5 is off the table, so there has to be a 1 inside this 11 cage. And then 2 cells that add up to 10, and my options are, 2, 8 works, 8 in here, 1, 2 there, and then the other option, say the other option, there may well be more than one option. 6 is off the table based on what we have in here. So 6 is in one of these two cells, which actually, what? No, that's 6. That's 2, 5. That's 6. That's 5. That's 6. Excuse me, the 6 was always in here. Anyway, so I said 2, 8 is an option. 3, 7 looks like it's an option, but 4, 6 isn't. And then 3, 7 would place a 7 in here, and then 3 in there. So no 1 there, definite 1 in here, with either a 2 or 3. No 1s there means that's a 3, that's a 4, that's a 1. And no 3 down here means that's a 1, 2 pair with an 8. And therefore that's 9, that's 7, that's 2. Excellent. Does that help me here? Yeah, none of these could be a 4 anymore. So this is not 2, 3, 4. There has to be 1 in here. That 1 is now in there. This with a 2 force means it's 2, 6. That's a 3, that's a 6. Lovely. Where do we go from here? It's coming together fairly quickly. 8 is gone, so this is a 4, 7 pair. There's another 3, 6 inside the 10 cage. What's kind of most intuitive? We've kind of largely solved it at this point, so it's just Sudoku. I know whenever I say just Sudoku, I feel like sometimes I can make Sudoku look extremely difficult, but let's just do the easy stuff first if we can. That's 5 and 7 unresolved. That 3, by the way, in the 20 cage means it's actually given me a 3 in here, because they have to be different, they're unique. These 2 are 9. That means there is 3 cells that add up to 11. Almost certainly includes a 1 in here, because 1 is in one of these 3 cells, but 10 cage. So, can it be 2, 3, 5? The answer is no. Can't have 5 in any of these cells. So that includes a 1, and therefore 2 cells that add up to 9, and it's not 1, 8, it's not 2, 7, it is 3, 6, and it's not 4, 5. So that's 3, that's 6, that 7 gave me 4, and that 1 gave me 2 and 1. These are not 4s, that 7, 8 is not resolved. Now, the 11 cage that's in here, plus whatever this is probably easily done. 10, 20, 26, plus 11 is 37. That's an 8. It's probably easier to have seen the fact that because I don't have a 1 in here, the 8 couldn't have gone in. There's the last remaining big digit. 2 is in there, 4 is here, and this is 5. That means that's 7, that's 5, that's 6, that's 2. That's, no, we already got a 1 in the cage. Sorry, in the box. What am I missing? 5, yeah, 6, and 8. Bunch of Sudoku in here for the finish. I need a 3, 4, 7, And if I've not made any mistakes, 9 for the finish. Beautiful puzzle. Full deck and missing a few cards. Welcome back. And really glad to hear you guys are safe. Hope you guys enjoyed the puzzle and the video. And I'll see you back soon. Bye-bye for now.